as that's... Damn, it's gone all Snoop Dogg on me. Blowback. Right, welcome to the Next Level Kitchen, where we're taking your skills to the next level with some amazing tips and fantastic, delicious recipes.
And Gordon, today we're taking 2 slices of bread and turning it into something amazing.
I promise you, it is not an idiot sandwich. So, it is a delicious next level steak sandwich that everyone in your household will be a huge fan after you produce this amazing steak sandwich, let me tell you. So, I'm gonna use a strip loin. A beautiful strip loin, which I'm going to use that fat to help render the onions and slice it at the very last minute. What are you using, Rich?
Man, I love fat. Fat is flavor, but I'm going to use the leanest piece. I'm going to use a filet mignon, and I'm going to make a homemade aioli with it.
Wow, okay, great. Now, first things first, take this steak out, okay? A next level tip is to make sure it comes out of the fridge, get up to room temperature, and give it a really good season, okay? Now, when you look at this New York strip, you think, God, it's too big for a sandwich. But here's how you get the yield, okay? I lightly smear it with a little touch of oil, okay? Take my rolling pin and just roll that steak just till it gets nice and flat. And what happens here is I mop up all that seasoning, and by rolling the steak, it actually forces the seasoning inside the steak. It's a great tip. Get this done literally 20 minutes before you go to cook it, and inside is permeated with that amazing seasoning.
I love
Rich?
it, I love it. Yeah, over here, we're gonna do like a barbecue spice blend. I have some of my favorite flavors. We have cumin, we have garlic, we have onion, we have paprika, and we have a little bit of brown sugar, which I love with red meat. And real simple, we're just gonna season our filet mignon. Again, it's really, really lean. So we want to crust it in these flavors and use whatever flavors you want here. So I got my dusted filet. It smells amazing already. And of course, I'm gonna start cooking that. My pan's getting hot pan, a little bit of oil. I love cooking in cast iron with red meat because you get that nice sear on it. And look at this, it's blazing in here, Gordon.
It is blazing. Now, I'm using a sourdough bread, okay? And I'll come back to that in a minute, but get the crust on that amazing steak. And the garnish, I'm gonna keep this really simple. I'm gonna fry some onions, which are delicious with the steak. But more importantly, look, I'm gonna flip that steak, use some of that fat to start cooking these onions. Now, I'm using a white onion because it's a lot more robust than the red onion. So it's gonna go really nice and caramelize. Now, first of all, turn that steak over, okay? Take out some of the fat into that pan there. And this is a great tip, by the way. Then start frying your onions in that pan. Now, come on. The steak, the onions, I've got the fat from that New York strip already in those onions. And now we start going up a level. I've got some salt, and I've got a little bit of brown sugar here. And just watch what happens to those onions. They start to caramelize so quick, it gets rid of that raw sort of white onion flavor, and it bodes well with that beautiful red meat. Rich?
Oh, I love that. Okay, so I don't have fat because I got filet mignon, so I need some fat. So I'm gonna make a homemade aioli or a garlic mayonnaise. Tip when you're making mayonnaise, get a wet rag, put it on your board so that the bowl doesn't swirl around. And then it's just 2 egg yolks, some garlic, a little bit of mustard. The mustard's gonna help with the emulsification. And then I'm just gonna start whisking like a madman to make a homemade mayonnaise. You don't have to buy it. You just have a little bit of patience. And again, because the steak is so lean, this is gonna add some fat and some flavor to it. This is gonna be my sauce. Okay, Gordon, what do you got?
So, onions are caramelizing down beautifully. You can see what that brown sugar's doing. I've got the fat from the New York strip in there. I'm gonna go back in with some excess fat again, so the flavor is connected. And I promise you, it really is an amazing next level tip. Now, this is where the onions go up a level. I've got some aged balsamic vinegar. And what we're gonna do now is beautifully reduce that vinegar over the onions. So think about it. I've got the caramel with the sugar. I've got the beautiful flavor from that New York strip. And now those onions just become almost like a beautiful, sweet, sour with that steak.
Oh, I love
Honestly,
that. I love that. Sweet
delicious.
sour is where it's at. All right, so now I'm gonna baste this. I got the filet. I threw some garlic in there and some thyme. And now what I'm gonna do is real simple. I'm just gonna sort of baste this filet, or you can also get it in the oven if you want right now. Here's the thing about filet. This looks really dark, but remember, it's got all these dark spices on it. This is still rare. Pop it in the oven, or listen, filet is one of the few meats that you can eat rare. It's gonna still be super, super delicious. So what I'm gonna do is actually let this rest and keep it nice and rare in mid-rare here.
Love that.
Okay.
So now you can see by rolling that steak nice and flat, I've got that crust. So when we come to slice this thing, I've got texture. And I want it mid-rare, okay? So I leave it to rest. I take it out of my pan, okay? I cover with that beautiful resting juices over there and just let it sit there for a couple of minutes. Now, check out the onions. You can do these onions up for sort of 3-4 days in advance and it becomes like this onion jam. And the flavor is incredible. Great with chicken sandwiches as well as the New York strip. Okay, I've got my sourdough bread, but how do I elevate that? I've got some beautiful Swiss cheese. It's going into my pan, and I'm just gonna get that melting. Now, I love this trick, trust me. A touch of salt, a touch of pepper, and watch what happens to that cheese again. Richard?
What is the cheese? The cheese tip is like, I am here for it, Gordon.
Honestly.
I'm totally taking that. You're gonna see it in all of my restaurants.
As that starts to caramelize, we've got this beautiful flavor, this amazing Swiss cheese that is just caramelizing in your pan. No butter, no mayonnaise. Just get your bread and mop up that beautiful flavor and just roll it around. And look, again, Rich, what are you doing with your bread?
I love it. I'm just throwing mine on the grill. Look at that. I don't know what I'm showing you. I'm just happy with it.
Love that. Good
I'm just
garlic
happy
in
with
there.
it. So I love that. You got a little bit of the char. You don't have to toast in a pan or in a toaster. Just throw your bread on a grill. And I'm gonna do an open-faced sandwich. So I have my steak, that's resting. I have my bread. Now here's where we're gonna get blazed in here, Gordon.
I love that.
It's time to get blazed. We have some tomatoes on the vine, a little salt, pepper, olive oil, and then listen, it's time for the torch. It's time for the torch.
You're torching a sandwich?
I'm torching the tomatoes and just blistering these tomatoes to be a garnish for the sandwich with olive oil, salt, pepper, and I will have the acidity and the sweetness from these tomatoes. I don't know if it's gonna match those onions, but they look delicious over there.
Smell incredible. That's a great way of sort of caramelizing those tomatoes so quick with a blowtorch.
And again, if you don't have a blowtorch, throw them in the pan, throw them on the grill, throw them in the broiler. But there we go, some charred tomatoes. I'm almost ready to build my sandwich.
You go.
You doing good over there?
I am absolutely good. Now, toast this out, okay? This is where you start to take your steak sandwich up to another level. I've got my base, I've got my top, okay? First off, I've got a little bit of horseradish cream, okay? One beautiful layer on that caramelized Swiss cheese, horseradish, delicious. Now, the top half, I've got some beautiful mustard. Once you've got that mustard mixed into that cheese, it's on a different level. How do I bring that heat down? What's peppery and delicious and goes well with an amazing steak sandwich? Beautiful watercress. That's gonna sit on the top. Now, from there, my onions. The smell of these onions, honestly, is just so good. Just look, the steak's not even on there yet, and it looks so good. I'm not gonna slice my steak until you say we can go, Richard.
Okay, let's go, let's go. I sliced my steak. Pro tip over here, after the meat is sliced, a little bit more seasoning on the pieces that were not seasoned already. And now I have my grilled bread. I'm gonna put my aioli right down on the bread. Again, I like a lot of this, right? You have all this crunchy texture from the baguette. You have a nice smear of our steak. You know what? I think I have some of this rocket. We'll throw down some of this arugula or rocket right on the bottom of the sandwich right here.
And here's the tip.
Yeah.
You saw me flattening that steak out earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
The yield is for 2. I've only used half the steak, and look at that on there. And honestly, just give that a little season. Every time we expose protein and you slice it, give it a little season. And then look, just a touch of the reduction from my onions. I'm gonna pour over the steak. And now we go up a level. Take my beautiful lid, and then we're just gonna close that over. In fact, dear God, may this be the most delicious steak sandwich I've ever made.
Here we
and
go.
then
Oh
we
my
fold
gosh.
over, and then boom.
Okay,
Finally, a little press down. I'm gonna slice it in half, beautifully. I'm gonna open it up, and that is fit for a king. And then finally, I got a little touch of watercress that's gonna sit there on the sides. Something green and mean. Richard?
There we go. I'm gonna serve mine open face. I'm watching my carbs. I'm gonna put it right over here, right on the plate. We have an open-faced filet sandwich with these charred tomatoes, a little bit of arugula salad. I don't know. I think they're both looking pretty delicious.
Two amazing sandwiches, and I promise you, that's how you take your sandwich to the next level. Now, to get the ingredients and more details on the fabulous recipes from tonight's cook-off, please check the description below, and be sure to subscribe for more episodes of Next Level Kitchen with this genius. Great job.
So cool.